Manchester City win the FA Cup as expected, as they were heavy favourites at Wembley against the Chelsea. But I must say, Chelsea played pretty well. It was a valiant and spirited effort from, the interim gaffers, Callum McFarlane's Chelsea team. Probably at times had the better chances over Man City. There was certainly a really dominant patch at the end of the first half and the early doors in the second half. Ultimately undone by simply what could only be described as a moment of magic. Their superstar striker who gets paid £500,000 a week cuts back an assist that is finished by their January signing Antoine Semenyo, who does like a back heel twisting flick. Amazing goal that even Petr Cech version of Robert Sanchez wearing the hat couldn't save. And that was the difference. It really, really was. You look at this, we'll look at the teams, but you look at this Man City team that have brought in two players like Semenyo and Guehi that, if you to go by SofaScore, would be our two highest performers on the day in terms of ratings. And actually, they're the two highest performers for Man City. That's their two January signings to sort of pick up their season. And boy, has it. They might not win the league, but they've won both the cups at the expense of Chelsea for the FA Cup. Very, very frustrating. I feel quite gutted for the players because they seemingly dug in really, really well. The game plan was good. All the appropriate players on the pitch that were available were deployed. And I'm pretty gutted, man, because I didn't think this was we just lose so many cup finals now as well. For the last 9 years or whatever it is now since we've won one, which was the FA Cup under Antonio Conte in 2018. So what's that? It will be 9 years after this season, going into next season. We've lost a bunch of finals. This is another one, and it's very frustrating because it felt like it could have been there for us. You had, players like Colwill coming into the back line, who's by far and away our best defender. You could tell early doors players such as Enzo Fernandez and Marc Cucurella were completely emotionally and locked in, real fierce application. Cole Palmer really digging in defensively, doing his bits, really playing for the team. And Reece James in midfield. We'll look at the lineups, but ultimately it's what can only be described as an in-form Manchester City yet again defeating Chelsea, narrow margins. This wasn't like the 3-0 in the recent game we played with them. This was a really tight game, tactically tight. And ultimately, it was just a fleeting moment of magic that decided the tie. And it's the difference. And, I hope you're watching, Chelsea owners / hierarchy. I know there was a protest, blue co-out protest down Wembley Way. I need to look at a little bit more like pictures and, I'll cover that in Chelsea News videos. I imagine the Chelsea ownership, the hierarchy, the sporting leadership, as they call them, will be on the blower to Alonso very quickly. He's the heavy favourite to be appointed at Chelsea, which would be a welcome addition for me personally as a Chelsea fan. But, it's tough, man, because before this game, if he said, oh, you're going to lose 3-1, I'd be like, yeah, it's about right with where both teams are. But there's still always, despite losing 1,000 finals in a row at Wembley, there's still this, but we are Chelsea though. And it was very tight ultimately. I'm going to show you this graphic now on who scored. So this is how we lined up. 3-4-3, a sort of box midfield of Caicedo, Reece James, Palmer, and Fernandez, as you can see there. It's a way of getting the better players on the pitch. Fofana always plays better with Colwill. Colwill's our best centre-back, best performer, the line-breaking passes. Rob Sanchez returns in goal. Couldn't done anything about the magnificent flick from Semenyo. Did make a couple of really good saves, though, it should be said. Hato, not the highest rated here, lowest rated here on who's SofaScore, but young player brought back in to play with Cucurella, and probably about right. James and Fernandez, captain and vice captain, probably the best performers on the day. You've got this, what's been described here as a 4-2-2-2 by Man City. His biggest omission probably was Rayan Cherki for dropping Cherki so he could start Marmoush in terms of what can be described as the strongest City team. And as you can see here, the two highest rated players are Semenyo and Marc Guehi, and on SofaScore, Marc Guehi won player of the match. So it shows you the two blockbuster high high money, high wages, January signings were the difference here in this game. Semenyo really just going for it. I actually think a really seminal moment in this game was almost ironically, it's not ironic, but our ex-player Mateo Kovacic, who's not a starting player for Manchester City, coming on at, was it half-time he came on? Certainly the first substitution made all the difference because Chelsea were in the ascendancy. If you look at the attacking momentum meter here on the left-hand side of the graphic screen here, started sort of Chelsea sitting in deep, frustrating Man City, but as you can see, not really penetrating, a break, showing danger, and at the end of the first half, Chelsea coming on really, really strong, dominating, pinning Man City back, a lot of pressure, and as you can see, this period here, and of course, this is before we conceded, and again, the goal was literally like a moment of magic. It wasn't like a tactical masterclass from Pep Guardiola. It was a sort of moment of magic from Haaland to Semenyo. Look at that Chelsea pressure. And indeed, even afterwards, there was a moment to equalise. Enzo Fernandez very soon after, almost immediately after actually, the goal, had a chance, header that literally just went over the crossbar. It was a game of tight margins, tactically tight, and ultimately decided by, like I said, that goal. And it should really highlight the difference between Chelsea and Man City. It's frustrating because this could have been the third FA Cup in a row Man City would have lost. There were massive favourites against outsiders last time, Crystal Palace, sort of the hopium from Chelsea fans. But the truth remains is we've been so thoroughly dysfunctional for weeks now. And I know we got that draw against Liverpool at Anfield, which was a pretty good performance, but they just went and shipped 4 to Aston Villa. Liverpool are in bad form as well, but you just don't know. It's very frustrating because the wait will go on. Not won since 2021 in Porto in the Champions League final. Like, again, I say if you could pick a game to win against Man City and then lose for loads, it would be the Champions League final. But I feel like we've waited long enough now. It's getting a little bit silly. But of course, coming into this game, it's not like it was even close. Like, there were minor favourites. They were like, massive, massive favourites. Do you know what I mean? If you spoke to people doing score predictions, they would have all done a 2-goal margin to Man City, not one. And they would not have perhaps seen it play out like it did. Yeah, so it's annoying because I'm really gutted for the players because they clearly were dedicated. The application was there. They dug in. And before, the goal, that Semenyo twisting flick into the corner, everything was working. And then naturally, McFarlane had to twist and make changes. And then we opened up a little bit more and looked a little bit more vulnerable as well. And then the players sort of, because they knew the game was slipping, perhaps the confidence drops because they sort of felt that structure that was serving Chelsea so well through the early echelons of this game had evaporated. And I'm really gutted, man. If you look at the statistics, let's look at the statistics here. For context, Chelsea, there was one big chance. That goes to Manchester City, 0 for Chelsea. It was a very tight game. 7 Chelsea shots to 9 Man City, 4 corner kicks apiece. And it was generally pretty close. I think we might have had the better of the second half. 5 shots to their 3, slightly more offensive. And it's just very, very frustrating. I'm just going to pause the recording and see if I can find the XG. Yeah, I've just found it. Well, I'm looking at the XG philosophy. It was very tight. It was 0.9 to Chelsea, 1 for Man City. So it was a tactical affair, one that was very, very tight and just edged by Man City. And again, you look at what let's just look at the players. Joao Pedro is good, Cole Palmer's good, Enzo Fernandez is good, but they're out of form. And look, Fernandez, these aren't players that have been playing in these positions for a long, long time. You look at comparatively what was being deployed by, I think Trafford's a better goalkeeper than Sanchez, and Sanchez has been good now and again. And everyone else is like, Rodri, the current Ballon d'Or. Oh no, Usman's the Ballon d'Or holder, but previous Ballon d'Or. Bernardo Silva, the captain. Nunes has been good lately. Gurhi, O'Reilly, England starting left back. Semenyo, Doku's like the best winger in the league. Marmoush was like an absolute goal demon before his form fell off. And of course, they bring on two really key players in Kovacic, who's not been rated very highly here on SofaScore, but I actually think he was transformative in terms of how they played and dominated the midfield. And Rayan Cherki, who's like got more, Bruno Fernandes won Writers Player of the Season. He still could break the record for assists, but Rayan Cherki is more open play assists than Bruno Fernandes, which, I'll say is not talked about enough, but Man City fans will all tell you. And look, we brought on Pedro Neto. I won't really sort of slag off Pedro Neto. I think he's a really good operator in terms of a good squad player, and he probably scales up with when the team scales up, I personally think. So, but, Garnacho coming on late and at the 86th minute. I mean, Liam Delap for Reece James. That's the minute you're like, well, we're done. Captain Reece James, man for the big moment, is coming off for a striker in Liam Delap. I know it's an opportunity, and he had the opportunity for a header, Liam, that maybe Drogba. It was not. It wasn't a sitter, but it was like a glancing header. You think of Drogba at Wembley back in the day, and then you just think of Liam Delap. Bless him. Like, I know he's in a tough time of it, injuries and form, and young player, but. He scores that, and then maybe Chelsea go on to win. He starts his Chelsea career. And you think, okay, we're in business. Of course, we're short of wingers. Gittins, Stevau, being Mudryk, obviously, and Jesse Derry, the youngster, who did look really exciting. And everyone else not utilised on the bench. You could maybe say Santos to sort of bring some sort of attacking. He's got a goal in him in theory. It's tough, man. I mean, I'm gutted, I'm crestfallen, probably more because, we played quite well and the players were committed. Had we, tried but got battered, I would have been like, yep, we're bad, and this was always going to happen. It always sort of hurts. It's the hope that kills you, and I think there was a little bit of hope in this performance from Chelsea. So I'm grateful to the players for that, but context is accumulated now. And that context is represented by losing loads of finals at Wembley. Bored of it. And this team just not really being as good as they should be. Look, you can lose a final against Man City on a winning streak or in form 1-0 by that goal at any team. We could have been the greatest Chelsea team in history. They can lose that game in a tight affair to that Semenyo flick. Contextually, you've got to look at it like that. But, I mean, ultimately, it's just another knock. It's another one stacked up, innit? Another disappointment stacked up. So, it's really rubber stamped the season. We, I think, probably no Europe. Certainly no, I think maybe there might be a chance for Conference League or something. I'm not even sure I'd want it. But it would be an opportunity now for whoever comes in, be it Xabi Alonso or whatever, and just be like, right, start again, because the tenacity's there, there's heart there, there's character there. No, that doesn't always serve them well. That actually can be a problem at times, but there is all that there sometimes. But now we need that quality in the final third. We need that robust structure that makes us a serious team. I think we saw today. But it was almost at the expense of maybe not having that final third magic. I'm bummed, man. But, we were massive outsiders in this game. And we are very much in it, decided by that goal. It just needs to end at some point. We can't keep getting to cup finals. Chelsea fans going up there, supporting the team. You could hear really excellent support from the Chelsea fans. Every year it's a privilege to get to cup finals and stuff, but eventually we have to win one. If Crystal Palace can beat them, we should eventually be able to beat a Liverpool or a Man City again. It's getting kind of silly now. And credit to, if we're being big boys about this, just talking about it, credit to Callum McFarlane, #Shane. He did set up respectively. He's done himself no harm in his, coaching career, should he continue down that route or whatever. The players clearly responded to him, despite him being a no UEFA Pro license under-21s coach. I mean, they're clearly responding to him more than poor Liam Rosenior. But it's not rip it up entirely, but it's very much start again. And look, and this season, if this can't be a huge learning experience for the hierarchy, after maybe they got a little bit too arrogant and big for their boots last campaign after, top 4 and whatever, it needs to be like, okay, let's build something that actually has longevity, structure, and a strong foundation that we can have like a continued success on, because, this season's been a write-off. Anyway, I will still be here every single day with you guys to give you updates on, the news, the daily developing news regarding Chelsea Football Club. So do consider keeping it locked by liking and subscribing. And yeah, just bummed out, man, but we'll get there. Take care. Peace.